Of course.
You haven't crossed your legs.
Sorry, again. I have a back injury, but
Wow.
in spirit.
Tucker Carlson and Glenn Beck shaking up the world of media and faith. These two former Fox News hosts recently came together to share some shocking stories about their time at Fox and why they believe Christians should be paying close attention to what's happening in the media right now. So, if you're interested in how these media giants view the battle between good and evil in America and why they're urging Christians to be cautious and prayerful, stick around.
I'm at Fox. Roger Ailes calls me into his office. You're telling people to pray. Yeah.
Glenn Beck didn't hold back when describing how working at Fox News affected his faith. He talked about how the allure of influence and power there was so strong, it nearly led him away from his values. For him, Fox wasn't just a media company. It was a place that made him question his beliefs. He shared that being in such a high-profile job was like being at the cool kids table, but that table came with a cost. He felt that the constant exposure to fame and influence, especially as one of Fox's top personalities, almost had a corrosive effect on his spiritual life. Over the years, Fox News has been in the news for its shows about the so-called War on Christmas. In these shows, the network has criticized other businesses, media outlets, and organizations for minimizing or ignoring Christmas and other Christian holidays. Some viewers like these segments because they make them feel like religious traditions are being pushed to the side, but others think they are sensational and oversimplify bigger changes in culture. Because Fox talks about this issue a lot, some people wonder if the network is using religious feelings to get more viewers instead of dealing with real religious issues in a fair way. Beck said that Fox News subtly pushed him to be less open about his faith, advising him to tone down references to God. This was especially hard for Beck, who's a devout Mormon and felt that his faith was a key part of who he was. He shared that Fox's pressure to keep his spiritual side out of the spotlight became too much for him. One of the most compelling parts of Glenn Beck's story is his personal realization about the effect his job was having on his spiritual life. Beck described a specific moment of clarity that hit him hard, one that made him question his priorities and led him to make a life-changing decision. He shared a story of a night when he was on top of the world. He just had the opportunity to meet Bono, U2's iconic lead singer, someone Beck admired. For many, meeting such a public figure would be a career highlight. But for Beck, that moment triggered an internal crisis about the path he was on. Returning to his New York City apartment after meeting Bono, Beck recalled looking out over the city skyline and feeling both exhilarated and empty. He said he leaned his head against the cold glass of his apartment window and wondered, how can this be your plan? Beck described hearing an inner voice telling him that if he didn't leave Fox News then, he might not be able to leave with his soul intact. This powerful moment pushed Beck to resign the very next day, despite the influence and success he was experiencing.
Glenn Beck and Fox News have announced that they are parting ways. John Berman joins us with that story. And John, they're trying to make this seem like a friendly divorce.
Since leaving Fox, Beck has faced plenty of ups and downs while trying to build Blaze Media. It hasn't been easy, and he admits that there were times he questioned whether he made the right choice, especially when Blaze struggled to find its footing. Financial struggles have been one of the biggest hurdles. Unlike Fox, Blaze Media doesn't have the same vast financial backing, so the company has had to be careful with its budget and resources. There were times when Blaze faced real difficulties staying afloat, and Beck questioned whether he had made the right decision in leaving Fox. Despite these hardships, Beck maintains that the freedom he gained to discuss his faith and values openly made it worth the struggle.
And I heard, internally, if you don't leave now, you will not leave with your soul.
Yet, looking back, Beck is confident that leaving Fox was necessary for him to keep his faith and values. In his view, fame and success at Fox could have easily pulled him in a direction he didn't want to go. In a surprising revelation, Tucker Carlson also shared an experience that he says forever changed his view on spiritual matters. Carlson claims he was physically attacked by what he believes was a demonic entity while he was still working at Fox News. This isn't a story you often hear from someone as prominent as Carlson, but he's been open about it. even talking to the Christian Post about the incident. He explained that one night, while he was asleep with his wife and dogs, he suddenly felt an intense, painful force around him. When he woke up and inspected his body, he discovered claw marks on both sides, under his arms and on his shoulder. Carlson was stunned and admitted he wasn't sure how to make sense of it. This experience led him to seek advice from an evangelical friend who explained that people can sometimes experience such attacks, particularly when they're involved in battles with what he described as spiritual forces of evil. This revelation not only shocked Carlson, but led him to dive deeper into his faith. He even began reading the Bible regularly, finding guidance in passages like Ephesians 6, which speaks about spiritual warfare. Another issue that Beck raised during his conversation with Carlson was how Fox News reportedly handled discussions of faith and spirituality on air. According to Beck, he was encouraged to avoid talking too much about God while he worked there. For Beck, who was open about his faith as a Mormon, this felt like a major compromise. He said that his bosses were keeping count of how many times he mentioned God, a subtle but clear message that faith wasn't a topic Fox wanted heavily discussed. One of the major reasons Carlson was reportedly let go from Fox was due to his controversial speech at the Heritage Foundation's 50th anniversary gala. During this speech, Carlson spoke about America's political challenges in very spiritual terms, framing them as a battle between good and evil. He emphasized that certain agendas, such as transgender rights and DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, were attempts to harm the nation's core values. Carlson's suggestion wasn't for people to engage in debates, but rather to pray for the future.
You don't have to talk about transgenderism because it's not happening in the animal kingdom. You know?
According to insiders, Rupert Murdoch, Fox's chairman, was reportedly freaked out by the religious tone of Carlson's speech.
And he said, well, here's how it works here. Stop saying God. Stop saying God. I said, okay.
His discomfort with Carlson's strong spiritual messages likely contributed to the decision to remove him from Fox. Murdoch, who has significant control over Fox's direction, wasn't comfortable with Carlson using Fox as a platform to share his religious beliefs so boldly. In fact, some sources suggest that Murdoch's unease with Carlson's growing focus on spirituality was a significant factor in his firing. Recently, Blaze Media has dealt with controversies of its own. One of the biggest issues involved letting go of one of its personalities, Lauren Chen, who was allegedly involved in accepting money from Russia. Although Blaze didn't delve deeply into the details of her departure, the allegations led to a storm of negative publicity, putting Blaze Media in a challenging position. For Beck, this was another reminder of how tough it is to build and maintain a media company that stays true to its values while dealing with the realities of the industry. Despite these issues, Beck insists that he doesn't regret starting Blaze Media. He believes it's essential to have a platform where people can discuss faith and conservative values without fear of censorship. In Beck's view, Blaze Media allows him to remain true to himself and his beliefs, something he felt was impossible at Fox News. One of the major themes in the conversation between Glenn Beck and Tucker Carlson was the dangerous allure of fame and power. Glenn Beck joined Tucker Carlson on his tour in Salt Lake City, Utah, where the two shared disparaging words for their former employer, Fox News. Beck referred to himself and Carlson as the only two survivors of Fox News and noted how the working environment at Fox News sought to spiritually destroy him. In their conversation, Beck and Carlson referenced a well-known story from the Bible, Satan's temptation of Jesus in the wilderness, as told in Matthew 4. In this passage, Satan offers Jesus all the kingdoms of the world if Jesus would only worship him. Beck and Carlson used this story to illustrate how fame and power can lead people away from their true values. Carlson even remarked, "All this can be yours," a direct reference to Satan's words in the Bible. For them, the message is clear. Fame and power can act like battery acid to the soul, eating away at a person's integrity if they aren't careful. In their discussion, Carlson made a heartfelt plea to Christians, urging them to turn to prayer in these challenging times. He emphasized that the issues facing America aren't just political. He believes they're deeply spiritual. According to Carlson, the divisions and conflicts within the country go beyond policy disagreements and reflect a larger battle between good and evil. He has come to believe that political debates alone won't solve these issues and that people need to rely on a spiritual foundation to face the challenges ahead.
It will spread to America and collapse America. And I could see that happening. It was so clear, but that's happening right now.
Carlson shared that he had tried for years to engage in debates on various topics, from diversity programs to transgender policies, but found them to be totally fraudulent. He explained that these debates often don't change anything because people aren't willing to listen to reason. From his perspective, the issues go deeper than what can be solved through logic or discussion. Instead, he believes prayer is the answer, a way for people to connect with something greater than themselves and seek guidance and strength in times of uncertainty. He urged his audience to take just 10 minutes out of their day to pray for the country's future. Carlson believes that by focusing on faith and seeking God's guidance, Christians can find hope and resilience to withstand the challenges facing America. During his conversation with Tucker Carlson, Glenn Beck brought up a surprising and controversial issue regarding Fox News' charitable donation practices. Beck claimed that whistleblowers from within Fox News revealed that the network had a charity matching program for employees that included some unexpected and even controversial organizations. One organization in particular stood out: the Satanic Temple. According to these reports, Fox's program allowed employees to request matching donations up to $1,000 for a wide range of nonprofit organizations, including the Satanic Temple. This revelation has led to significant backlash, especially from conservative and faith-based communities who see the inclusion of such an organization as conflicting with their values. According to Beck, some well-known Christian organizations like the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association were reportedly excluded from the same program. The Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, founded by the late Reverend Billy Graham, is a well-respected Christian ministry known for its outreach and charitable work. For many Fox viewers and employees with strong Christian values, this exclusion felt like a direct contradiction to the network's public support for traditional values. Glenn Beck opened up about some of his personal struggles and the lessons he learned from his time at Fox News. Before working at Fox, Beck had already faced challenges in his life, including a battle with alcoholism.
I spent 35 years of my life drinking my life away.
Yes.
Because I really thought all of the things that, society tells you.
He has been open about how his faith played a key role in helping him overcome these struggles. For him, getting baptized and finding redemption was a turning point that allowed him to rebuild his life and career. What do you think about all this? Let us know in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos like this, where we dive deep into today's issues with a fresh perspective.